Good morning, Ms. Basan.
Morning, Lawrence.
How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Good morning, folks. We're just getting situated here, Zoom and all.
Morning, Mayor.
Morning. Hey. All right, well, good morning, folks. Let's go ahead and get started. And I know because we've got some public comment and work on some of our fuzzy technology, at least on my end. I've got like half a background and half not a background. So, okay, let's call this meeting to order and go ahead and begin with a couple of things. I think we can see folks in terms of introductions, in terms of who's on, et cetera. I think you've all been sent the agenda. And so everyone should have a copy of that available. And we're going to proceed, I think, with our public comment. We do have some folks signed up, and that's why I do want to go ahead and get started. And so, David, why don't you just proceed with moderating public comment?
Mayor, I apologize. My Zoom link here at home has frozen my screen, so I'm trying to get reconnected.
That's okay, and you can just do it, by without video if you need to. So, with respect to public comment, how do you want to proceed?
If Deb could assist moving forward with that, she has the same info, and like my whole screen is frozen, so I'm not able to
That's
interact.
fine.
So I'm trying to reset my Zoom. I apologize.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We have 6 public comment requests. 2 of them were written. We can start with the first one, and it would be Mike Prado. I will allow him to speak right now if we're ready.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mike, are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Okay. The city has done studies for locations and also has done studies with different focus groups. What's found out of the top 3 locations now is the bottom 2 and 3, 4 years to get done. What was also found out is the focus groups is that their preferred locations because of other locations were too dangerous and not as much access to some of the things they're looking for. These city studies and focus groups found out that the #1 location they would prefer because it would only take 2 years is the Gibson Medical Center. It has everything that the community's looking for. It's got beds, cafeteria, it's got a nice atrium area, it's got easy pickup and drop off. It's by transportation. It's also right by the Veterans Administration. Apparently, since about 20% of the homeless are veterans, this would be the perfect location. It's very easy with this location than all the building that has to go up and all the costs that have gone up. So there's only 2 things that really have to happen at the Gibson Medical Center is you unlock the door, turn the lights on, and you're open for business. The next thing that the committee really needs to really start doing, it's very important to start outreach as soon as possible to involve as many businesses, neighborhood associations, and coalitions around the city. But how can we even start this until we determine what the location is going to be? So I think this is something I think the city is dragging its feet on, but the easiest, the quickest to
Mike,
help
you have 5 seconds.
is to really move to the Gibson Medical Center. Thank you.
Okay, do we want to move on to the next one?
Yes, go ahead and kind of just keep rolling them and appreciate those comments. And we'll talk about that later, of course, Mike. Thanks.
The second one is David Silverman, and I'm looking for him now, sir. I do not see David Silverman, so we can move on to Ilse Bell if she's in. I do not see Ilse Bell. Number 4 was a written comment, Mayor. I will email that to the committee instead of reading it unless you wish I do so. The 5th one was William Hoffman, and I think he is present. Perfect.
Good
Mr.
morning. This is about a dedicated homeless transportation system. A major necessary component of a public-private homeless service network is a dedicated integrated homeless transportation system linking the various providers and interests as found in the HCC coordinated community-wide framework on homeless. To improve consolidation and coordination for this population and impacted neighborhoods, major existing centers need to be linked with a circulating arterial shuttle system involving the West Side Emergency Housing Center and the North Downtown Cluster of Day Services near Wells Park and along the 2nd Street corridor north to Manal Boulevard. The staging area transportation at Coronado Park and serving both heights needs to be expanded to a fixed schedule beyond the West Side Center transportation and established public transit. The second major element is the expansion of the Family and Community Services Department funded community shuttle service as a blueprint to reach homeless, health, community, and social services. As the proposed targeted HCC services commence, other key gateway centers need to be linked, notably the former Gibson Medical Center, the North Downtown Facility, the CARES Mass Facility on Zuni, and the proposed UNM BHI Triage Center. Surplus CABQ transit buses originally utilized beginning in the late 1980s for the first homeless winter emergency shelter from Morelos neighborhood to the State Fairgrounds, Expo, New Mexico, 4-H dorm with contracted retired bus drivers could be implemented through the transit department. Surplus vans from transit and community centers could be used for a demand response system serving Joy Junction in the South Valley, Steel Bridge in the North Valley, the small villages in the International District, and other emerging services and programs interfacing with an expanded dedicated bus system. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. And then our final request or our final request for public comment was a written request, and I'll email that to the committee members also. So that concludes it.
All right, thank you so much, Deb, and William, thanks too for those comments and some good history in there and something definitely to look at going forward. So let's proceed with our agenda to just taking a look at our minutes. So if folks could glance at that if they haven't had a chance, but things seem in order. So I'll just open some space. Any changes or comments that need to be made to those?
I move to approve the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Wonderful. Thank you, Julie. Is there a second? All right. Thank you, President Stokes. With that, we'll, hearing no objection, we'll approve the minutes unanimously. Okay. All right. We have, of course, on our agenda, I think a nice detail, well, in more detail than before, certainly update on where we're at with Loveless. So the old Loveless, of course. and appreciate the public comment we heard on that because it's timely. So as we proceed into a couple of things, that's going to be again in our really discussion piece. But we want to start with the framework that, of course, we've been working on. And this is a preliminary framework, meaning that what we're looking for from this committee is basically just to be okay with it now going out for various forms of input, beyond the subcommittees and so forth that have worked on it. So that's the nature of the term preliminary. It's preliminary because it's not meant to be final for the city. It's just meant to be final from our perspective to go out for a more formal review. And with that, let me hand it over to Carol and or Lisa to tee up other aspects of that. And then as you're listening and so forth, this is one where when we're ready, if we are, we would like to actually, vote so that